A new pack for Master Duel has been announced, and with it comes a new top-tier deck. Right after we just got Draco Tail, which is currently the best deck in Master Duel. So what is coming with this? Boom. Yummy is going to be the new top-tier deck. We're getting Triple D alongside them. Megalith and also Sulfur is coming alongside all of these new cards. Now, on Thursday, that's going to be the day we're going to have a new pack day $1,000 tournament qualifier on twitch.tv/Decade to see how top tier Yummy is. And also, it comes with pre-hits. They semi-limited the Snatchy. They semi-limited the Yummy. They also banned the Obedience School, which I said in my banlist review, this was because of Yummy. They also put the Herald of Arc Light to limited to 1. A bunch of hits preemptively for this deck. Now, what does that mean? It's still going to be top tier. Do not worry about that if that's the case. If anything, they're learning from their mistake that they had with Malice and friggin' Ryzeal. They didn't touch those decks at all besides putting the X Ryzeal to 2, and then they had the lowest player numbers ever in Master Duel history. So it'd be great to not repeat that over and over. Now, let's talk about all of these cards and what to expect from them. I'm going to pop them out like this. Even the Gorgon is pretty cool of a card. Now, the Yummy deck, we go on over to YugiOhMeta.com. We'll click on the tier list. We can expand it to the last 3 months. How's that sound? Last 3 months, it looks like Draco Tail's the best deck, but that's because you are not adding the Mitsurugi Yummy and Yummy together. If you combine both, then that would put the Mitsurugi Yummy as the, or I should say Yummy itself being the highest tiered engine deck. Now, to be fair to Mitsurugi, you could also mix Mitsurugi with Mitsurugi, but I think with Yummy and Mitsurugi Yummy, that is what would come out on top here, even though there's a little bit of Mitsurugi down here. Now, if we click onto OCG, there's no real good prevalence of Mitsurugi Yummy, and yes, the deck has been out for that long. It's that they prefer the pure Yummy way instead of Mitsurugi Yummy. Now, there are some key differences between the TCG and OCG on possibly why they prefer Yummy over Mitsurugi Yummy, and we could talk about some of these things and nuances to expect on this Thursday. So first off, TCG is missing a card in the extra deck. It just has not been released yet for some reason. But click on to OCG, you'll see that they have Camellia. Now, Camellia turns any 2 monsters. It's similar to a Moon of the Closed Heaven, where this will 2 monsters now go into a full Yummy combo. Now, for TCG to cope with that, instead, if we look at their Mitsurugi Yummy version of the deck, clicking on this, they have to play Zombie Vampire. So instead, they have to put 2 level 8s together for a chance to maybe go into a Yummy combo. It could whiff, and then if it whiffs, you get kind of screwed on that, where otherwise it's going to be guaranteed in Master Duel. Thus, if we're going to play Mitsurugi Yummy, we do not have to play Zombie Vampire. We'll have the more consistent way, where because Zombie Vampire is so mandatory to bridge their way into Yummy, they have to play the Mitsurugi Mirror, which if you're playing that, you may as well also play the pre-preparation of Rites. While this card is great, we don't have to play it if we don't want to. If you want to play more non-engine, the Mirror is actually optional for the Master Duel and OCG way to play Mitsurugi Yummy. Now, something I should show your attention towards, if we go to the YCSJ, a 5,000 player Japanese event. In this 5,000 player event, Mitsurugi was legal. It was released. It was available to play, but no Mitsurugi whatsoever. So even in a 5,000 player event, not only did they choose to play pure Yummy, instead, it's actually Fiendsmith Yummy. And if you see here, the Moon of the Closed Heaven is not available anymore for the TCG nor the OCG. So again, we're going to have another big difference for Master Duel, where we have the option to play Moon of the Closed Heaven. We have the option to play Mitsurugi. We have the option of using Camellia with it and all that good stuff. Now, what also Konami did that threw craziness into the fray is we have Sulfur Yummy. Sulfur is now randomly also coming with this pack, which is seemingly a pretty good way to also play Yummy. There's lots of different ways to now play this deck. If you want to play this with Sulfur, you're going to additionally have the Link 3, which when your opponent activates a card or effect, you get to negate the activation. So if you want an additional Omni Negate instead of playing more non-engine or Fiendsmith or more hand traps, then this would be a way to play that. It's going to be playing into this big card, which is going to be a huge Ash choke point for the opponent. You like search 2 cards, special summon a card in the field in a single effect. Now, if this eats Ash, then your other effect will be protected from Ash. That's something to be excited about. Now, if you're unfamiliar with Yummy, real quick, as we'll then look at the other decks, Yummy is all about the Snatchy activating its quick effect to perform a synchro summon during either player's turn. And this card is preemptively semi-limited. Now, if we look at TCG, it is majority played at 3. So it's not a crazy hit that's going to kill the deck. It's still going to definitely be viable, but we would have preferred it at 3. Now, Mitsurugi Yummy, I believe, they prefer to just play it at 2. This could be even more of a reason. There you go. Mitsurugi Yummy at just 2 Snatchy, where Konami could be pushing us towards, hey, Mitsurugi is a newer deck. We just released that. Make sure you also buy the Mitsurugi alongside the new Yummy cards. Now, a key reason for why Mitsurugi is preferenced in the TCG, but not in the OCG, very simply is one card. See, it's not here? Boom. It's the Max C, the #1 most used card, now limited to 1 in OCG, but this very well still is a huge factor in Master Duel in your decision making on especially your deck building and your plays. We have essentially 5 Maxis we have to deal with, 2 Maxi plus the 3 Fua loss. So if you get hit with the Maxi and you're looking at your hand, oh wow, I have a Mitsurugi, Murakumo, I have a Habakiri. Well, instead they could have been hand traps. Additionally, maybe more Nibiru's, which you now don't lose a duel where you could have instead, well, you would now then lose because they have freaking Maxi against you. Now, to go back to, because I know we're jumping all over the place, Yummy, the Snatchy is going to be going into your main 3 synchros. This one will reborn cards in the graveyard to enable more plays. The Yummy Way will search your deck for 2 cards and then discard. And well, actually, they're all Yummy Way. We have the Lollipop version, the Cupsy version, and then the Cookie version of the synchro will flip 2 monsters on the field face down. And what's crazy about this deck, and I think is quite annoying about it when you're playing against it, is if you do anything, if you breathe, you activate any card against this deck, these synchros jump off the field and they essentially +1, as they're going to summon 2 bodies from the grave continually as you activate. And if you try to do something to the Snatchy or any of their cards, they also jump off the field into the synchro themselves. So forms of disruption that you're going to expect against this deck is they're going to reborn the Cookie from the graveyard with one of their synchros in response to activating something. It will then destroy your monster. When they perform a synchro hard once per turn, they'll destroy a card in the field. They're going to have a Herald of Arclight on the field, which is a floodgate. Any monster sent from the hand or main deck to the graveyard is banished instead. That absolutely decimates freaking Draco Tail. Their cards don't activate when banished. Now, Mitsurugi cards will still activate when banished, so it's not as devastating against them. And also, another huge thing we're going to have in Master Duel is the fact that we're going to have a Sprite freaking Elf. It's going to be so broken in this deck. You could use Imperm, you could try to Arthalion, the Herald of Arclight, but not when we have Sprite Elf. It's going to make it freaking untargetable. And the Sprite Elf requires the opponent to control a monster in order for you to reborn a rank or link 2. Well, that restriction's not on Synchro. So very easily on your very first turn, when you make a Sprite Elf, Elf can reborn back onto the field one of the synchros, and they don't have to be properly synchroed to have the effect of jumping off the field to summon 2 Yummies from the graveyard. So in addition to the Herald of Arclight, they could have a Masquerena also going into a Little Knight play. They also have the Yummy Quick Play Surprise, which will quick effect return 2 cards on the field back to the hand. Lots of disruption, lots of jumping around the field. And also, thanks to the Yummy Minion field spell, your monsters get massively boosted. Plus 500 for each light beast monster on the field. Now, if you remember a meme from a while ago, the TCG players are thinking, oh, you just banished this and you beat them. Well, they were right. They couldn't do anything, but that's because they didn't have Marshmallow. And then they had Marshmallow released later as second wave support, which we're getting as our right away with Yummy. We're not going to have to wait for this card. This gets rid of that downside of the deck where you do get to recycle back your field spell thanks to the Marshmallow. Marshmallow making the deck more consistent, more resilient against disruption. It is crazy. Now, the Gorgon is also quite interesting. Let's say The opponent special summons against you a Mitsurugi Murakumo. It's activating to destroy your entire field. And at that point, you're thinking like, oh my Jesus, I'm in big trouble. Let's say it's chain link blocked, right? It's activating to wipe, and then something's on chain link 2. So now you can't even use your Herald of Arclight to negate it. You're screwed, right? Well, if you have a Masquerena, you can attempt to link off into a Gorgon. Now, they can use prayers to tribute it off to dodge the Gorgon, but if they don't have a prayers for them with their chain link blocked Murakumo, but who am I kidding? They're very likely going to have that. I'm just trying to showcase for this example so you understand how this card works. You'll summon the Gorgon, and then the Gorgon's going to be pointing to the Murakumo, and then the monster that this is pointing to, their activated effects are now negated. So you don't have to worry about any chain link blocked effects as long as the monster is still on the field on the resolution of their effect while the Gorgon's pointing to them thanks to your Masquerena. Now, there is a summon lock on this deck, and it is the Snatchy. So you do have to be careful with that play, especially if you're going to use Snatchy in the opponent's turn. You have to summon the Gorgon before you activate the Snatchy. The Snatchy will lock you out of Link 3 or higher monsters. So I am confident that this is going to be absolutely decimating the Meta Weekly on this Thursday. I'm looking forward to it, and I think it's a good thing, all the pre-hits, because the deck's still going to be the best deck, straight up. I think so. Let's now talk about the other decks that are not as top tier. This is such good card design. Not the art. What I'm talking about is the effect and what it does, what it accomplishes. This is what almost every deck should have going forward in Yu-Gi-Oh! This, because right now the worst thing in Yu-Gi-Oh! Absolutely, I think hands down, is going second is not fun. A regular deck is not well equipped to do well going second. If you build your deck correctly, you're going to, on average, have a 40 to 45% win rate against the opposing player going first. If you're equally skilled in playing the same deck or good decks, it's not good game design. It's something they have to fix. It may even be just straight up an inherent issue with Yu-Gi-Oh! That they're going to have to fix with a master rule or slowly over time continually release better and different cards to fix up that difference of win rate. Now, we've even seen at Worlds, the win rate being upwards of 70 to 80% win rate for the top tier decks like Malice and Ryzeal. That's freaking ridiculous. You may be going, oh, well, that's because they're Malice or Ryzeal. That's including when they're playing the mirror match. They're mirror matching Malice versus Malice. The first turn player has a 70% win rate. That doesn't make sense. So how this accomplishes that is to summon this, you do not have to banish a Fusion Synchro Caesar Pendulum from your field. It can be from your graveyard. So after you expend, you participate in the duel, you interact with your opponent, you get to a Fusion, a Synchro, and a Caesar Pendulum, they negate, wipe out your field mate. You then hit them with the big dimensional Quadra D, Dimensional King Arc Crisis. I've been playing this card a lot recently. I have a bunch of replays. I have also photos of myself just fully negating an entire field. This card is crazy. You special summon this, it then negates the effects of all face-up monsters the opponent currently controls, and then you can attack every monster once each. And then based off what you're banishing, you're going to also give this piercing battle damage, and every monster destroys by battle, you're going to deal an additional damage equal to their attack. I just love this freaking card. It's so much fun. It takes the, when I'm going second, it's depressing, but now I get more excited of thinking, hey, I have a main goal. Can I summon the super crazy boss monster and potentially win the duel? And it happens a lot. It wins absolutely unwinnable duels, and that is a great thing about this card that, again, reiterating, more decks need this. So is this a top tier deck? No, it is not. If we look at the tier list, we're going to have to, expand it, let's say 3 months. DD is down here, less than 1% of the meta of the last 3 months of the TCG. What about the OCG? Same thing, less than 1%, but who cares? You're not dedicated to a single tournament weekly. You could play this deck multiple times in one day, then switch to another deck if you want. I'm very much excited to play this deck. I do plan on either streaming myself dueling with this deck or having 1 hour playtest of this deck. It is a good time. It's a very complicated deck, but that's a fun thing to work towards, a high skill ceiling as it's using pretty much every summon mechanic. Now, is it a true pendulum deck? I think a true pendulum deck is one that plays Electromite. This is not an Electromite deck. It does use the pendulums to help cheat out, your rank 4 Xyzs. You get this new one that lets you search your deck for a card. What else is new? You get the Clovis, these are the two new ones that give you the piercing battle damage and the attack damage given onto your super Dimensional King Arc Crisis. Now, even though this card is never summoned turn 1, it's so good that it's 100% used. Of course you are. And they tried something like this before. And they even gave it an animation. We all freaking joked about it. It was the Monadium. Where is that card? Prime Heart. That's what this was trying to be, but this is too hard to summon. Oh, wow, we get to attack a bunch of times, up to the number of tuners and all that nonsense, and let's give this an animation. Oh, wait, people still don't want to play this. No, you have to make it easier to summon, and of course, it still needs to be fair, but this card alone helps jump up the win rate of this deck going second. Now, of course, you still want to go first this deck, but you just have a good option going second. And this is alongside the idea of making go second, go be better for turn 1 decks, which is pretty much all regular decks. When you add the additional effect on Key 2 Draco Tail to fuse on resolution of also adding if the opponent controls a monster, thus essentially just when you're going second mostly, unless they're summoning Abyssal on you turn 1. Now, beyond my excitement for Triple D, what else is good here? I don't know if we're getting this card. Probably not. TCG does not even have this. I have not play tested with this. I don't know what the heck this is. So congratulations to OCG having that. Megalith. This, I believe, has 0 tournament tops. Let's see. Genesis tournament. That's a fake tournament. It's fake. It's fake rules. It's not real Yu-Gi-Oh! So it has 0 TCG tops. What about OCG? Oh, okay. It's got a top in the OCG. Let's freaking go. Is this, what the heck is this? This is a Megalith deck? I mean, it's a deck that was using Megalith and Orchist and Crystron and Labyrinth. This is an everything deck, I guess. If you want to toss Megalith into this, sure, you have a cool idea or a cool skeleton for a deck idea. This is definitely not how I will be playing Megalith, and I do want to at least attempt to play this. So, again, Master Duel, we can have fun on the ladder. We're not joining tournaments. We're not dedicated once a week. The decks don't cost thousands of freaking dollars. I mean, let's see real quick. What do these decks freaking cost recently? Wait, $80 deck? That's a cheap one. I think it's using a bunch of structure decks. $300? Wow, this is actually cheaper than I thought. If we sort $300, is the TCG getting cheaper or what? Wow, TCG is healing. What's a yummy deck in the TCG? It's been out for a while, so I think that's why a lot of things are getting cheaper over there, unless that's a new initiative. I didn't know about that. And we already talked about Gorgon and also Sulfachord with the, Sulfachord, I guess, could be used in its own deck, right? Sulfachord, I'm not really familiar with that. I looked vaguely into Sulfachord Yummy. So what's going on with Sulfachord? How many tournament tops? A regional. Now you can see K9's being used here. K9's like an extra hand trap engine. Think of this like also Fiendsmith. It does help you out turn 1 also. So it's a nice little boost, which we should be expecting for, I would say, the anniversary. Now, what about OCG? Yeah, they're loving it with K9, but this one is quite interesting. We have Electromite. So, of course, TCG is not having much success with Sulfachord because Electromite is banned. So you want to look at the OCG for the way to play a pure version of this. Maybe I'll check this out, even though it's predominantly being played with K9 and we do not have that yet. I'm sure this is not required to play it unless a core Sulfachord is a rank 5 Xyz, which I don't see it. Now, K9 is core to a deck like Vanquish Soul because that is how you make your main play, making a rank 5 Xyz with that deck. Or wait, actually, it's the other way around. The Vanquish Soul's helping make a rank 5 Xyz. Yeah, but do expect Vanquish Soul coming out for probably the anniversary alongside with K9 if they want to do that to make the maximum amount of profit. Now, that's pretty much it. Let's go. Yummy's going to be top tier. I'll see you all in the tournament on twitch.tv/Decade. Sorry if I'm a bit out of it. I'm on some stuff because I've been sick for a week, and I guess I'm tending to be rambling a bit. All right. Thank you very much. I'll see you there. Let's go.